while since I've last cooked, but now that I'm finally in my second trimester, I am starting to feel a little bit better. The nausea is still there, but it's starting to go away, so I am very thankful for that. Anyway, it's Thanksgiving this week, and I need to prep and make all my little contributions for Thanksgiving. Excuse my son, who's very chatty right now. So I'll be baking 2 different pies, one berry pie and one pumpkin pie. And I usually do this every year because my father-in-law's birthday and my mother-in-law's birthdays are both in November. And so we usually celebrate their birthdays also during the time of Thanksgiving. So my father-in-law loves berry pie and my mother-in-law loves pumpkin. So we're doing both. And I don't make pie very often, but thankfully this one recipe that I've used for the pie crust is pretty easy. It's foolproof and it's come out really well every time. So hopefully that'll be the same for today. Let's get started. All right, so I have my little helper here. We first have to measure out the flour. So I have my big case of flour here. And I'm gonna put in 224 grams plus an extra 2 tablespoons of flour into a big bowl. Okay, go ahead and pour it. Good, very nice. Go ahead and pour it in the bowl. Good. Okay, where's the short? I know. Hold on. Okay, there you go. Now dump it. Good. Okay, one more scoop. Ready? Scoop it. There you go, nice. Okay, now let's add some salt. Let me put you down real quick. First, dust you off. We need 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Are you ready? Good, very nice. Okay, let's do one more. Put you down real quick. Okay, go ahead, dump it. Yeah, good job. Okay. I just realized I need to double this recipe, so we're going to do some more flour and some more cornstarch. Okay. Okay, now we need 1 teaspoon of salt, but I'm gonna double that, so 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, go ahead, dump it. Good, very nice. Okay, we gotta do one more. Okay, let's do the sugar. Hold on. Okay. Okay, go ahead and pour it. Good. Okay, one more. Okay, so it says to add in 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. And we're gonna double that for the recipe. Go ahead. So 4 tablespoons. Go ahead, ready? Good job. All right. Now the fun part, we're gonna mix. Okay, so we're gonna combine all of that up with a whisk. So now we mix this up. Ready? Go ahead. There you go. Slowly, slowly. There you go. Good. Okay. Ready? Hold it. Mix. All right, now it requires 12 tablespoons of unsalted butter, very cold and cut into cubes. So if I double that, that's 24 tablespoons of cubed butter. And that's still in the fridge, so I'm gonna have to cut that up. 3 sticks of butter makes 24 tablespoons. Okay, add the cold butter cubes and toss them in the flour, making sure each piece gets coated. For the most part, the butter looks like it's pea-sized, more or less. Okay, now it says to slowly add in the cold water and cut it into the mixture until there are just bits of loose flour left. And it says if the dough is too dry and doesn't hold together when pinched, add in cold water 1 teaspoon at a time until the dough comes together. Be sure not to add too much liquid here. For this recipe, it says it needs half a cup of cold, ice cold water. So double that, that's 1 cup. And then I'm supposed to add in 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar to the one. 2 teaspoons total. Yes. Wow. Okay, so I stuck a cup of cold water in the freezer to get it nice and cold. So it's a little bit icy still, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna add in my 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. So this one, you done real quick? I gotta open this, ready? Ready? So first, we're gonna measure it. Okay, ready? Can you pour it? Pour it in here. Good. Okay, 1 more. Very good, Hunter. Now, we're gonna slowly add this in to our dough. Just do half at a time. Okay. Let's mix that. Mix. Okay, go ahead, mix. Go ahead. Give it a good stir. Okay, that's okay. All right, that's good. All right, let mommy do it now. Why don't you hold this tablespoon for mommy and hold a teaspoon for mommy. Okay. One of the things that this recipe said was to make sure not to overwork the dough because that'll activate the gluten and will cause the pie crust to shrink. And we don't want that, so just trying to work fast here. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Pretty rough dough here, but I don't think it's too dry, so I think it's okay. Just add the rest of this. Pour it onto here. Ready? Sprinkle it like this. There you go. Good. Good. Yeah. That's good. So it says lightly flour your work surface. So I'm gonna pour this onto my work surface. Gently knead the dough into a shaggy ball. About 4 or 5 kneads should do it. And I'm gonna weigh this so that I form 2 even pie crusts. Okay. So 1,178 grams. Let's get Perfect, $5.89, love it. So I'm gonna just shape this really quickly, both of them into discs. Okay, same with this one. Okay, and then we're gonna wrap it up in saran wrap and let it chill for a couple hours. All right, I took one of the pie doughs out of the fridge and let it rest for just about 10 minutes. And I'm gonna roll this out and just make sure that it's wide enough to fit around this whole, what do you call it? A pie crust tin. Right, so I got the dough wide enough to fit in here. And I'm just gonna press against the sides just to make sure there's no like air holes or anything. Keep it as close to the tin as possible. Again, working quickly because I really do not want this butter to melt. Okay, now I'm gonna use a fork to go ahead and poke through the dough. I'm gonna trim off the edges here. Yes, honey baby, yes, yes, yes. Okay, this will be for the pumpkin pie, so I'm just going to use the fork to crimp the edges. It's a very simple way of decorating the crust. That's how it'll look. Quite pretty. And I'm going to use the saran wrap I used earlier to chill the dough. All right, and now I'm going to let this chill for another hour or two in the fridge. All right, guys, I'm gonna make the pumpkin pie now. We already have the crust made and chilling in the fridge. So the recipe that I'm using for the pumpkin pie is Libby's new fashioned pumpkin pie. And I think it's just based off the Libby's pure pumpkin brand here. Okay, so this is a list of the ingredients that it calls for. 2 large eggs, 15 ounces of Libby's canned pumpkin, which is 1 can, 1 cup of evaporated milk, 14 ounces of sweetened condensed milk, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of ground cloves, and 1 single unbaked deep dish pie crust, which we already have made. Alright, so it says to first preheat the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit, which I'm already getting started. And then next it says to whisk eggs well in a large bowl. I'm going to use my KitchenAid stand mixer. now it says to whisk in the pumpkin, both milk, salts, and spices, and mix until everything is completely combined. Evaporated milk. And all the salt and spices. Okay. Let's mix that all together until well combined. I think that looks well combined. I'm gonna take that out. Now it says to pour that pumpkin mixture into the unbaked pie crust. So this is what it's gonna look like before baking it, and I'm just still waiting for my oven to preheat to 425. But once that's preheated, I'm gonna bake it for 15 minutes and then turn the oven down to 350 and bake for another 50 to 60 minutes or until it's set around the edges and a knife inserted near the center comes out clean. So stay tuned. Okay, I made a little small one for my sister. It's like an individual pie. So I put the pies on a baking sheet just so that it's easier to take out. But we're gonna go ahead and put it in the oven now. It's been 15 minutes, so I'm going to lower the temperature to 350 and set the timer for, this is to bake it for an additional 50 to 60 minutes. So I feel like because my tin is deeper, I'm gonna set it for an hour and then I'll check up on it maybe like in 55 minutes or so, see how it does. All right, well, the pumpkin pie is done. I'm just letting it kind of evenly cool down in the oven by keeping it slightly ajar. And let's just open this up so you can see. And this hopefully will prevent the pie from like cracking, because I've had that issue in the past, and I think by taking it out right away, it just cools it down too fast and forms cracks. So looks pretty good. I did a little jiggle test and it seems pretty set. So we'll see how it tastes tomorrow. We tried the mini pie already and took it out, and that was really good, but hopefully this is just as good.